Hello and welcome to another episode of Fundamentals of Spirituality. In today's episode, we are going to see about the three states of consciousness: waking, dreaming, and sleep. So, let's understand. Consciousness is something that is the entity inside. We use that word, however, understand what we experience because the word is different and the experience is different. That something that is inside you, that the feeling of that you exist, the I am, the purest form of your existence without any attachment, the subject becoming aware of itself, the meditator. In the last episode, if you see, we talked about the meditator meditating on meditator itself. So that entity, that entity is being referred as a consciousness. Now I will say it as an individual consciousness because that particular entity, you will say, it is attached to this body and mind. That's why it's individual. If you will go deep within yourself and become aware of that your own existence, then it literally feel like a field of energy field of energy in and around this body. You don't get that glimpse of that infiniteness yet. This is formless. It don't have any particular structure. It won't have any particular shape, but you will just see that ball of energy in and around your body. And then this is what is been referred as a consciousness. Now, the fundamental property of this consciousness, the basic property of this consciousness is attention. It is giving that attention outward, and that attention, when it's coming outward, then simultaneously, first, that particular field that you see, whether all the energy flow is happening and the thoughts are coming in and judgmental analyzing is happening, memory, everything is in that field. Your memory, your intellect, your personality, ego, that me, your understanding about right wrong, your concepts, all the concepts are there into that particular field. And the most easily accessible thing that happens there, that we can easily pinpoint and we can easily see, is the thoughts. The thoughts arise and thoughts goes down, thoughts arise and thoughts goes down. So the consciousness is there, the attention is there. In that attention span, first thing is that when the attention is there on this field, all those things are observed. When the attention is there on the field of the body, then through the senses, the attention goes outside and the outside world is perceived. Is it making clear? Is it getting a little bit? Are you understanding what I'm saying? The consciousness is there. The consciousness, the basic quality of the consciousness is that attention which is going outward. Why the attention is going outward? Because the consciousness, when it realizes its individualness, it wants to know itself more. It not only wants to know itself more, but it knows that it has got the power of existing in different forms, in different places, at different ways, because it has come out of that substratum which is infinite. If something has come out of the infinite, then it knows that the basic quality that it has come out of that is there. So it wants to know everything about the previous quality of that fundamental absolute, the basic absolute which is there, and then the outer quality of itself which it can manifest, or which it can evolve into. You know, when this consciousness is putting its attention outside, the outside world is perceived. It is conscious and its attention is outside, and the outside world is perceived. We call that as a waking state. You are sitting there or you are standing there, whatever you are doing, you are looking at the camera, you are listening to this. The attention of that beingness inside you is outward, and through the senses, maybe it's ears and eyes predominantly, you are understanding what I'm saying, what I'm communicating with you. So that is, we will call it as a waking state. Five senses you use through your mind, through the consciousness uses the five senses through the mind to understand the world, to perceive the world, to get to know more about the world. That is called the waking state. Now, when the attention is limited up to the senses, not even at the senses, behind the senses, and in that inner field where that attention is there, and all that is happens in that inner field, visions, thoughts, sounds, words, everything that is happening into that field, we call it as a dream state. So understand, dream state is not only happening when you are sleeping. Dream state is happening when you are actually waking state as well, because you're waking but your attention is not outside, your attention is inside, and you are having a dialogue with yourself. You're visualizing something, you're imagining something, hallucinating something. So you are in the dream state, and at night the same dream states happen. And then there is the deep sleep state, that we can call it, where there is no attention. There is no attention about any of those things. So the deep sleep state, you are not completely aware of anything. You don't know where you are, you don't know what you are, and you don't have any existence about place. So your time and space is gone. Your awareness about your body and who you are is gone, and you are just completely merging one with the absolute. We will call it as an absolute because then the understanding becomes clear. Though everything is one and everything has come out of the one, it is better to give these names. The in scriptures also, or in sages or masters also has referred this with different names, just to make the understanding clear. So absolute is the word I will use, that whether the absolute, with nothing after that. On that level, when there is a little bit of stirring happens, the individual consciousness wants to know itself, and then the whole personality forms on top of that. So, waking state is that individual consciousness wants to know the world and is conscious about that and using the senses and the mind, and wants to know the world, is the waking state. Dreaming state is the individual consciousness is conscious about its own field, immediate own field, and not using the body to understand the outside world, but just indulge into the its internal activity. That is the dream state. And the deep sleep state is that individual consciousness is not conscious about its own existence and is merged with the absolute. Now, when this individual consciousness is merged with the absolute, that is the higher state. However, please understand, deep sleep is not considered as a higher state, because in that deep sleep, the consciousness loses its awareness. The consciousness is not conscious; it is unconscious. It is not aware. That's why it merges into that, and it gives a good rest and a peaceful experience of a peaceful sleep, a rest at the level of the mind, rest of the level of the body. And when you wake up, then you feel fresh. You feel fresh, but you don't feel enlightened. That's the basic fundamental difference between the deep sleep and the state of the complete aware samadhi or liberated stages that they are. Now, next question comes: how do we sleep? How do we sleep and what happens? So, understand the mechanics of sleeping and dream. When you are actually lying down in your bed and the attention is outward, the attention is in the outside world, you are in a waking state. Then the attention comes back to your senses, come back to the inner field of that dreaming happening, analyzing happening, thought process happening. So your attention is coming down, your eyes are closed, your body is moving, getting adjusted to get into the perfect state where you can rest for some time. And then the attention is there into that field, and then you will feel, then you, if you observe carefully, this is a very interesting thing actually, and this is one of the amazing experience that I have done in my life. You will see that there is like a kind of sucking experience is there, that the whole attention which is outward is getting sucked up into inside. And then This requires a lot of attention. Then there is a stage comes that you are not dreaming, your attention is not outside, you are not in waking state, you are not in dreaming state, but you are just existing. And then boom, you're just gone, you're into deep sleep. You're not aware of anything that is happening after that. You are completely gone. There is no awareness of that individual consciousness. There is no awareness of the personality which is there on top of that individual consciousness. Personality means you don't know whether you are male or female, whether you don't know your name, you don't know where you are, you don't know what you are. Everything is bang gone. And nature has given this ability to us. If you want to survive and live in this world, you have to dissolve into that absolute at least once in 24 hours. Now, what happens when you wake up? Understand, when you're waking up. Waking up also, there is a fraction of everything happens in a fraction of second, but the fraction of the second, you become aware of the individual consciousness. There is little bit of awareness there. Completely that pure and pure and very subtle and very natural and very unconditioned state of that your existence of I am, that is there. And then immediately you start coming outward, and then immediately the whole world comes in front of you. Immediately you start understanding everything. Now the memory comes slowly. That's why sometimes you wake up and you don't know where you are, what's happening, is it day or night, how long did you sleep, how come you come here, all those things happens, and you might have gone through these experiences, because the memory takes its time to come back slowly. So that is how you wake up. You go down in the same way, you come out in the same way. But that second last state and the first state, second last state before you sleep and the first step after you wake up is very important. That has got the ultimate understanding of your basic nature of who you are. And then what happens? What is the dream state? Dream state is that you come back, but you are not coming back into the level of the body, and you are not using your senses. You're using your internal senses to visualize the thing, internal senses to talk to yourself, to hear something, to communicate, to see, and then you are seeing those visions, what we call it as the dreams. Understand, in that field, when you are asleep and when you just wake up, that stirring happens on that individual consciousness level, and all these visions comes in, we call it as a dream state. So that is a dream state when you are sleeping. When you are waking and you are indulge into your own activities of the mind, then you are in the waking dream state. There is sleeping dream, there is waking dream state. And then when your attention is completely outside and you are listening, or you are talking, you are communicating, you are perceiving the world through your five senses, then that we can call it as a waking state. And when there is completely no awareness of anything, deep sleep state, that we can say that. Because sleep is also some most of the time is combined of the dreams. Waking is also most of the time is combined with the dream. So waking state, being alert and awake, and using the consciousness and watching that attention of the consciousness through your mind, through your senses to the outside world on the object which you want to perceive, is a very rarest thing. That is the sharpness of the attention and sharpness of the awareness is required. And that is what happens when you start meditating on the meditator, when you start understanding your true nature. So understanding of these three states, and these are the three states of this consciousness. When you become one with yourself, though the movement that is there on the top of this consciousness, individual consciousness is happening, but you are not getting indulged into that. You are mostly, not mostly, you are 100% into that silent state, and you are being one with yourself. completely one with yourself, and you are enjoying that state, you are just loving that state, you are just there permanently or for a long time, and nothing outside states are disturbing you. You are not asleep, you are not awake, you are not dreaming, you are just one with yourself. That field of energy that we talked about, that has been referred as a turiya state. That just pure experience of that pure beingness of being with that own being is called turiya. And then when you overcome that and go on the other side is turiya atit, passing that turiya state as well. Turiya atit can be again referred as this is interesting, waking sleep state, waking deep sleep state, that you are awake. Awake also means you are not dreaming. See, understand, awake means what? Your attention is 100%, your awareness is 100%, and you are experiencing the deep sleep. You are aware, you are 100% aware, your 100% attention is there, but there is no perceiving happening, there is no dreaming happening. You are like a deep sleep state, you are completely detached, unattached, and just there. And it is possible. So that is why the Swapna Nidra Jnan in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, this is one of the reference that he is giving when Patanjali was talking about different types of samadhis. I don't exactly remember all that, but I do remember that it was a Swapna Nidra Jnana was the words were used in the sutras. And then that is what this is all about. That understanding that purest state of your existence before you go into the deep sleep, understanding that purest state of your existence before you go into the dreaming state, understanding that purest state of the existence when you are waking up every night. And how can you do that? So every night when you are completely aware, you just remind yourself that I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, I'm not this ego personality that I'm thinking of, I'm not whatever the concept that I know about myself, but I'm something else. So let me find out, who am I? Don't say I'm consciousness. Don't say anything else, because all these names, just have your own personal experience. Names dilute the experience. Now, how can you say that I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, I'm not this, all those things, blah, blah, blah? Because in deep sleep, nothing exists. In deep sleep, you are actually out of all those things, but still you exist. So, what is that that let you exist into the deep sleep? That is the reality. And then, if you want to know the reality, then that is the way to go to that reality, to understand that reality. You just becoming aware of that every night, every night, every night. If you can write it down, you can read it, and then you just sleep. After that, you don't get into your mobiles and you're talking and all that. You just sleep and you just engage into that thought of whatever you are written, two or three sentences, not too much, and then you just let go. It will take some time. It will not take some weeks or months or something, but one day all of a sudden you will become aware. Oh, yes, you will get a glimpse. Second day, you will get a glimpse. Like that, the glimpses will come first, and then those glimpses will start extending, and then that will start becoming an experience. And that experience will become the foundation of the longer establishing into that state for a longer time. So, we discuss about all the three states, we discuss about Swapna Nidra Dhyan. So implement this practice for understanding the non-duality aspect of yourself, and then you will come to know more about yourself. Okay, on that note, we will end here and we will see you next time. Bye bye.